This is Dr. S. Mohan Lakshmi, Professor and Head, Department of ECE, Roni College of Engineering and Technology, Kanyakumari District. Today topic for the video lecture is 8051 microcontroller interrupt programming. And on completion, the students will be able to list the interrupts of 8051 and the purpose of interrupt vector table. They'll be able to describe the external hardware interrupts of 8051. They can contrast edge triggered with the level triggered interrupt. They will be able to write the program for serial communication and timers, which is all interrupt based. And they will be able to define the interrupt priority of 8051. There are 6 interrupts in 8051. The first one is reset, which is power up reset. And there are 2 interrupts set aside for timer, one for timer 0 and one for timer 1. There are 2 interrupts set aside for hardware external interrupts. Port pin 3.2 and 3.3 are for the external hardware interrupts, which is denoted as INT0 and INT1. There is one single interrupt used both for reception and transmission, which is for serial communication. This is the interrupt vector table for 8051, and you could see the ROM location, which is represented as 0000 for reset, 0003 for external hardware interrupt 0. So likewise we have different ROM locations for the different interrupts, and from this table we will be able to see everything. For all the interrupts, the flag is cleared except for the serial communication interrupt, where the programmer needs to clear it. And how to enable and disable an interrupt. So upon reset, all the interrupts will be disabled, so which means that it is masked. So none will be responded by the microcontroller if they are activated. So we need to enable and disable the interrupt, and we have a register for it, which is interrupt enable register, shortly called as an IE register. So you can unmask and mask the corresponding interrupts. And this is the format of the interrupt enable register, which is a special function register. You could see in the first bit, that is D7th bit, it is EA. This is enable all. So essentially you should give this to be 1. It should be set. And we have the interrupt enabling for the different interrupts. For timer 2, of course 8051 does not have the timer 2. Then next one is serial communication interrupt. Next is timer 1. Next is external hardware interrupt. Next is timer 0. And the last D0 represents external hardware interrupt 0. This is coming first one is the timer interrupt. So the timer interrupt, of course we know the timer flag will be raised when the timer rolls over. Say for example, if you are using a mode 1 programming, it is a 16-bit timer mode. So once the timer reaches the final count, say FFFF, it will roll over and the timer flag will be set. So in polling method, we need to wait until the TF is raised. Suppose if you are enabling this timer interrupt in the IE register, so whenever the timer rolls over, the timer flag will be raised and this will interrupt the microcontroller. So the microcontroller is not necessarily you have to tie it in a loop, just checking whether the timer flag is raised or not. So this is an example for timer interrupt. And here this is a program says that we need to continuously get an 8-bit data from port 0 and it has to be sent to port 1 while simultaneously creating a square wave of 200 microsecond period on port pin 2.1. So of course the timer 0 is used to create the square wave, and the oscillator frequency is given to be 11.0592 megahertz. Of course we have to write a program for timer 0 in mode timer 0. Here they have written a program in timer 0 with the timer in mode 2. Okay, so here we can see that we are enabling the port pin 2.1, or we are complementing it for generation of a square wave. And the main program tells you that we have to enable the timer 0 in mode 2, which is an auto reload facility. We are making the port 0 as an input port, as we need to get the data from port 0 and give it to port 1. And we are, the very important instruction over here is move IE comma hash 82H, which means that we are enabling the timer 0. So once you start the timer, and you can see that the microcontroller is getting the data from port 0 and giving to port 1. And whenever the timer flag is raised, it will interrupt the microcontroller, and automatically it will go to the interrupt service routine for the timer 0, and it will generate a square wave over there. So here you can see that the 8051 microcontroller is doing two purposes. One thing is like it is getting the data from port 0 and giving to port 1, as well as it is simultaneously creating a square wave. This is how it is used. And coming to the external hardware interrupts, we have two external hardware interrupts, which is designated as INT0 and INT1. And as I told you already, it is the port pin 3.2 and port pin 3.3 of 8051. And it has its interrupt vector locations as 0003H and 0013H. And we have two activation levels for the external hardware interrupt. One is level triggered, the other one is edge triggered. And coming to the level triggered interrupt, normally these INT0 and INT1 pins are normally high. And if we apply a low level signal, then it will trigger the interrupt. So the microcontroller will stop its execution, whatever it is doing, or it will finish its current execution, and it will jump to the interrupt vector table to service this interrupt. So the low level signal at the INT pin must be removed before the execution of the last instruction of the ISR, which is nothing but written from interrupt. Otherwise, the another interrupt will be generated. So this type of triggering, we call it as a level triggered or level activated interrupt, and this is a default mode upon reset. And this gives an example of a level triggered interrupt. So here what we are doing, an INT1, that is external hardware interrupt, is connected to a switch that is normally high. Whenever it is going low, it should turn on the LED. So the LED is connected to one of the port pins, say P1.3, and it is normally off. So when it is turned on, it should remain for a fraction of a second, and as long as the LED switch is pressed, the LED will stay on. So this is the main program. First shows the main program where you will be setting the LED or setting the port pin 1.3 to turn on the LED. Then we are giving a small delay. Then we are clearing the port pin 1.3 such that it will turn off the LED. And this will jump to a ISR for this particular INT1. So where we are enabling the IE register, and as soon as you press the switch, whenever you are triggering it through an external hardware interrupt, this LED will stay on and it will remain for a delay, and it will remain off. Then it keeps, you can, if you want, we can keep it continuously. And how to sample the low level trigger interrupt. So we know that the port pin 3.2 and 3.3 are used for normal input output, unless it is mentioned or unless it is enabled in the IE register. After the hardware interrupts are enabled, the controller keeps sampling this INT pins for a low level signal every machine cycle. And when this pin is held in a low state until the start of the execution of ISR. If this is brought back to a logic high before the start of the execution of ISR, then there will not be any interrupt. If this pin is left at a logic low after the return from interrupt instruction of the ISR, another interrupt will be activated. So normally we have to remove this low level signal before the return from interrupt instruction of the ISR. So it is said that the duration of this low level signal should be at least for 4 machine cycles. So this you call it as a, say it is a sampling a low level triggered interrupt. And coming to the edge triggered interrupt. So to make these level triggered interrupt, this is a default mode, we have to program the INT0 and INT1 which is present in the TCON register, or we need to program the bits of TCON register which is specified for INT0 and INT1. So which means that we need to set it such that this will act as an edge triggered interrupt. So this TCON register, which is a timer control register, will hold the IT0 and IT1 flag bits that will determine whether it's a level or edge triggered mode of the hardware interrupt. So this is normally the D0 and D2 bits of the TCON register. This is normally referred as TCON.0 and TCON.2 as it is bit addressable. And here again, coming to the sampling aspect of edge triggered interrupt, the external source must be held high for at least one machine cycle, and it should remain low at least for one machine cycle. So the falling edge of this pins INT0 and INT1 are latched by again the bits of TCON register, which is TCON.1 and TCON.3. When the ISR is finished, this will be automatically cleared. So by seeing or by execution of the return from interrupt instruction, the corresponding bits, that is TCON.1 and TCON.3, are cleared. And coming to the serial communication interrupt, we have only one interrupt for serial communication, which is used both for transmission as well as for reception. So we have a transfer interrupt or transmit interrupt flag, which is raised when the stop bit is transferred, indicating that the SBUF register is ready to transfer the next byte. And similarly, we have the receive interrupt flag, which is raised when the stop bit is received, indicating that the received byte needs to be picked up before it is lost by the new coming serial data. So in 8051, of course, as I mentioned already, we have only one interrupt set aside both for serial communication, that is for sending and receiving the data. If the interrupt bit in the IE register is enabled, which is the IE.4, then RI or TI will be raised and it will jump to the memory location 0023 to execute the ISR. So in the interrupt service routine, we need to execute, the user need to examine the TI and RI flags to see which one has caused the interrupt and responded accordingly. And we need to write the program based on it, whether the TI has raised or RI has raised. And coming to the interrupt priority, when the 8051 is powered up, the priorities are assigned like this, which is present in the table. So the highest priority is given to INT0, the next is for timer interrupt 0, then external interrupt 1, then timer interrupt 1, then serial communication, and of course the last one is for timer 2. Of course we don't have in 8051. So we can alter the sequence of interrupt priority by programming a register called as an interrupt priority register. So we need, for example, if I want the timer interrupt 1 has to be given a highest priority, then the particular bit in the interrupt priority register has to be set. So once the interrupts are raised, say for example timer interrupt 1 is raising, external interrupt 0 is raising the interrupt, then the timer interrupt 1, which we have set in the interrupt priority register, will be responded first, then it will respond to the external interrupt 0, though it is given the highest priority according to the table. So these are the possible assessment questions on 8051 interrupt programming. So you can have a look at it. Okay, thank you.